Oakmont's reputation for difficulty began the day it opened in 1904. Pittsburgh industrialist H.C. Fones designed the prodigious 6,400-yard course to be as hard as the iron that came out of his nearby foundry. But in the following decades, he and son W.C. did everything they could to make it even tougher, transforming the course from iron to steel by digging pernicious ditches and adding several hundred bunkers that were groomed with 100-pound furrowed rakes that left deep grooves in the soft Allegheny River sand. But more than the bunkers or length, Oakmont has always been defined and defended by its greens, long considered the fastest in golf. Slicker than polished glass, putts don't break at Oakmont. They glide, they drift, they trickle, they streak, and their combination of speed and slope, with several tilted away from the line of play, remain unmatched. Oakmont's legend has been forged in the battle heat of history and the major championships it's hosted, including a record 9 U.S. Opens. Since 1969, it has never placed outside the first 10 on Golf Digest's ranking of America's 100 greatest courses, and with numerous national championships on the horizon, it isn't going anywhere soon. This is every hole at Oakmont. 12 long benches of mounded grass surrounded by sand comprise one of golf's most famous hazards, the Church Pew Bunkers. Congregated between Oakmont's 3rd and 4th holes, as awe-inspiring as they are, driving into the smaller, deeper bunkers, stepped into the slope on the right, is often the bigger sin. The crowded green is set on a natural knob with a false front, and the rear slope kicks over shots into a low chipping area. Tiger Woods made a double bogey 6 there in the last round of the 07 Open and cost him the championship, losing to Cabrera by 1 shot. If you miss the church pews on the 3rd, another service is offered on the 4th, also on the left. This hole is a par 5 that plays off a rise to a fairway that bends to the right and then glides into a low green, hooking in the other direction.
Make sure you're warmed up. You'll need to hit it big right out of the gate. Hole number 1 at Wooden Sticks is a tough par 4 that stretches to almost 450 yards. From an elevated tee over a shallow ravine to a wide fairway. Aim left to avoid the Church Pew bunkers down the right side. Inspired by those at Oakmont in Pennsylvania, and best when admired from afar, like the middle of the fairway. The second shot is slightly downhill and usually downwind to a large, relatively flat green that runs front to back, especially off that knob on the right front corner. Aim for the middle of the green, make par, and you're off to a great start.
1 par 4, 1 par 3, and 1 par 5. All of them tied together by the ribbon of Rays Creek. Amen Corner. It would be hard to find a more famous stretch of holes anywhere in golf. It certainly has an identity. Some might argue a soul. So why shouldn't it have a name? There are 15 other holes here, great ones. But time and again, the Masters has been decided at Amen Corner. So much has happened there. A place where a player's prayers are either answered or not. But either way, undeniably, for those who love the game, a sacred place.
In April 1958, Herbert Warren Wind first wrote the phrase Amen Corner. It referred to a stretch of land squirreled on the southwest of Augusta National's property. It was the 12th hole that became the crown jewel of Amen Corner, the picturesque par 3 set against a backdrop of azaleas. It's a rare moment for players and their caddies to enjoy alone. But lurking beneath the beauty of Augusta's iconic image is a trap, an ingenious, delicious piece of bait that tests the limits of players' discipline and smarts. Year after year, players see that Sunday pin on the far right side of the green. Every Masters, somebody tries to chase it, and they pay the price. Which begs the question, what is the right way to play Augusta's 12th hole on Sunday?
Number 3 may look familiar, the first of the inspired holes at Wooden Sticks. In this case, by the 12th at Augusta National, part of Amen Corner. It's a par 3 that can play as long as 185 yards, but to get a feel for how it plays at the Masters, use the tee blocks closest to 150 yards. It's a difficult shot over water to a small green protected by bunkers front and back. You can miss it left or right and get up and down, but long or short is trouble. Make sure you have the right club for the wind and yardage. Hit it on the middle and you'll have a makeable birdie putt no matter where they put the flag.
I've said it for many, many years now, it's the greatest par 5 in the world.
I find that tee to be one of the most iconic places in the world to play golf.
You'll have a lot more of that in between a 3-4 iron. Are you going to do it? Are you not? And I think that's going to be really entertaining.
If you're stuck in between and you get more mayhem because you're going to get more water balls instead of guys hitting 7 irons right into the middle of the green, how's that not more exciting?
If you want to ship it all the way up green side, you can do that. It's just going to be hard to take that shot on to the green now, obviously with the creek there.
Will it make the whole play easier, harder? It'll probably make it play a little bit harder, but there'll still be a lot of birdies and maybe the odd eagle on it.
There's never really been a choice. If you hit a good tee shot, you go for the green, but now there's a decision to be made.
I certainly look forward on Sunday to having someone in competition with a 3 or 4 iron in their hand, or even a hybrid, hitting a shot into the 13th hole rather than an 8 iron. So I think on balance, it's going to prove to be the right decision.
Number 4, a par 5 at 512 yards inspired by 13 at Augusta, the end of Amen Corner. Gives you your first best shot at joining the Eagle Club at Wooden Sticks. There's lots of room down the right side for a drive and a layup, avoiding the creek that runs down the left side the entire length of the hole. Bend it left around the corner, and you can expect a shot in the 200-yard range to carry the creek and land it on this large 3-tiered green, framed by bunkers that don't usually come into play but definitely give it an Augusta feel. Hit it on the correct tier, and you'll have a relatively flat putt. Par's a good score, but you may feel like you're giving one up to the field.
It's almost as hard to find Pine Valley as it is to play it. The #1 golf course in America, as ranked by Golf Digest, is not on the cliffs of Pebble Beach or off the fashionable shores of the Hamptons. It's in southwest New Jersey, off the interstate. You head to the Clementon Amusement Park and take a left. Those railroad tracks on your right are reminiscent of how George Crump, the founder and amateur architect, discovered the prehistoric terrain on the way to Atlantic City. It was his vision that became and remains Pine Valley.
Pine Valley Golf Club, Pine Valley, New Jersey, one of the most difficult golf courses in the world.
For most, Pine Valley exists as a concept, same way gravity exists as a concept. I was firmly in this camp until recently when a golden ticket invitation fell into my lap. It's important to talk about that, quote, #1 golf course in the world idea, because it's tough to think about much else before your trip to Pine Valley. It's what you think about when you trust the airline with your golf clubs on the way there. It's what you think about when you drive through a strangely normal-looking neighborhood before arriving. There are around 40,000 golf courses in the world, and the idea that one could live up to the idea of being a clear-cut #1 feels about as likely as the place down the street really having the world's best margaritas. But a weird thing happens the deeper you get into your round. You realize that it's actually doing it. Every hole, every single hole, makes your jaw drop. For 4 straight hours, and not a minute more if you'd like to be invited back, the golf course doesn't let its foot off the gas. After a long day of getting joyously kicked in the teeth, one of the more popular subversive dinner conversations is the debate that rages on over the worst hole at Pine Valley. While our table couldn't pin down a unanimous selection for the honor of worst of the best, I couldn't help but think of the shot that I was most terrified to hit again tomorrow. Standing on the 5th tee box for the first time, it doesn't take long to understand why, on a rare broadcast appearance in 1961, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf announcers brilliantly called the 5th
an anthology of hazards.
as it contains just about every cause of death known to golf. There are two realistic game plans one can employ at the fifth. Option 1 is to aim for the only welcoming sight in view, an apron of fairway cut that stretches for 30 or so yards in front of the green. This would also be known as laying up on a par 3. Option 2 is to go for the green, but measuring between 219 and 238 yards, option 2 also entails hitting a hell of a lot of club. And if you're going for the green, I hope that your trusty miss is to the left. Going for the green and missing right means you might spend the next 15 minutes humiliating yourself in the forest, getting pantsed by the ghost of Gene Littler.
A 7 for Littler.
But it also means you're trying to make a 1, even though you know you probably have a more realistic chance of being invited to become a member. That tee shot on number 5 is the most visceral example. Pine Valley forces you to make a decision every day on every shot of every hole. It always gives you a way out, a way to make a pedestrian bogey. But it also knows that you likely can't resist trying to hit that shot, the one that you'll discuss at dinner, and at future dinners for as long as you and your golf friends are lucky enough to travel together.
Number 9 is the second and last par 5 in the front, 544 yards from an elevated set of tee decks, overlooking a large waste bunker inspired by Pine Valley in New Jersey. The safest carry is to the left, but you can miss it slightly left or right and still wind up with a decent approach to the green. At the end of a fairway that narrows in the middle and widens near the green with more waste bunkers on the right side. Depending on the wind and the tee position you select, it's a reachable par 5. The green undulating at the edges is deep enough to hold woods and long irons, giving you a relatively flat putt for par birdie or better. Congratulations on a great front 9.
You can always see the top of the flagstick. The green is even more perilous. A missed shot is a death sentence. As the members say, welcome to Pine Valley.
The 12th at Wooden Sticks is another original with influences of Pine Valley. A 459-yard par 4 with the drive coming out of a chute and over a large waste bunker. There's more room to the left than you think, so make it easy on yourself and avoid the bunkers, trees, and out of bounds on the right. The second shot is uphill to an elevated green with a false front, sloped back to front and protected by deep bunkers in front, and framed by hardwood trees on the back and sides. If you've been saving a solid iron shot, this would be the place to use it. Make par here and you've earned a pat on the back.
Then a brute of a finish, arguably the finest 18th hole anywhere. The tee shot is elevated, a long carry from the back. The second shot is over sand and water and sand again, upward to the home green, where golfers, bloodied and bowed, doff their caps and shake hands. The round is done. Repair to the clubhouse.
Par 4, 484 yards from the tips, continuing the Pine Valley theme with a long carry over the waste bunkers to a fairway guarded by bunkers and out of bounds to the right. Again, there is room on the left, and you'll need a great drive to get home in 2. Even if the flag is cut on the far left of the green, you'll want to play it to the right, the side unprotected by the waste bunker, and take your chances with a chip and a putt or a long 2-putt. The green is wider than it is deep, with a bit of a bowl effect toward the middle. And most days, a par 4 will feel like a birdie. The 16th is the final par 5 and the longest at 570 yards. And keeping with the feeling of Pine Valley, the fairway is split with a waste bunker roughly halfway to the green. So a drive down the middle will give you the choice of going for the green from about 250 yards through a chute with trees left and right, or making it a 3-shot hole with a layup short of the large green, sloping from back to front, and guarded on the left by bunkers with more waste area on the right. It's not a bad idea to leave yourself with an approach of about 130 yards. It'll be the perfect rehearsal for what lies ahead.
All that is sensible about golf course architecture, and some that is nonsensical, is derived from a single golf course, the Old Course at St Andrews in Scotland. It is among the oldest in the game, and perhaps the most beloved, although a love affair with it invariably begins coolly. It is also the most misunderstood and maligned golf course of all time, scorned by those unwilling to give it long-term commitment. The Old Course is the prime source of golf as we know it. As the home of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club, its 18 holes became the standard for a proper round of golf back in 1764, a decade before the American Revolution. Its design, a blend of utter simplicity and amazing complexity, has resulted from centuries of trial and error. Its routing goes out, turns around, crisscrosses itself, and comes back. It's always just 2 holes wide, with each hole sharing a common fairway, a common green, or both. It is unorthodox. One either embraces its endless sea of undulations that make for some blind shots and hidden hazards, or one detests them. One either admires its enormous double greens, or finds them a monotonous series of 3-putts. One either delights that so many bunkers are characterized by individual names, or laments that most are circular pot bunkers with vertical edges of stacked sod. The Old Course has had a greater impact on the game than any course in history. Nearly every golf course built in the last 150 years has been inspired by St Andrews or is a reaction against it. To win the Old Course at St Andrews is to place a reservation into golf's Hall of Fame. Its champions include Bobby Jones, Bobby Locke, Peter Thompson, Jack Nicklaus, Seve Ballesteros, John Daly, Tiger Woods, Louis Oosthuizen, and Zach Johnson. That diverse roster tells us the Old Course favors no single style of play. It accommodates all types of swings, but requires adjustments in tactics and strategies depending upon conditions. The Old Course is never the same course on consecutive days. It is timeless, yet dynamic, offbeat, yet irresistible. Those who truly love the Old Course admit they don't fully know her. To understand all there is to know about the Old Course at St Andrews requires a lifetime of study. From its start at the edge of town, the opening hole looks innocuous, with its flat 100-yard wide fairway that it shares with the 18th hole. But one must not get complacent on the tee shot, as there is out of bounds down the entire right side, and a moat-like stream known as the Swilcan Burn, the only water hazard on the course, stretches in front of the green, then curls back toward the tee on the right at about 270 yards. With the green at the same level as the fairway, the main goal on the second shot should be to hit sufficient club to clear the hazard, and with the flattish green a full 40 yards deep, it is an ample target.
Well, here I am on the widest fairway in golf. It's the first and the 18th of the Old Course. It's 129 yards wide, believe it or not. But let me tell you, you'll still feel very nervous on the first or the 18th tee trying to hit this enormous target.
The back nine starts with a hole inspired by the first hole in golf, number 1 at the Old St Andrews, Scotland. It's a par 4, 390 yards, and features an ultra-wide fairway shared with 18. You can go as far left as you like, but it's tougher to get yardages to the green from there. And you need to know, because the green is fronted by a 4-foot deep creek, so if you're going to miss it long. The putting surface is massive, with an assortment of humps and bumps, but mostly flat in the middle. So 10 20-footers are makeable, and birdies are not uncommon.
Undoubtedly one of the most famous bridges in the world of golf. It's the Swilcan Bridge, built over 700 years ago, originally to help farmers get their livestock from one side of this wee burn to the other. This bridge has carried the footsteps of the most famous golfers past and present, and has witnessed some very emotional farewells. Whether they come for golf or not, visitors travel from far and wide to get the iconic photograph right here with St Andrews in the background.
Oh, it is good. What a shot from Tiger Woods. Come on then, come along.
from the tee at 18 is towards the clock face on the R&A clubhouse. From there, the approach needs to clear a deep hollow, known as the Valley of Sin, to reach the putting surface. In 1995, Costantino Rocca famously holed for birdie from the Valley of Sin to secure a place in a playoff against John Daly. Daly went on to win the Open. The 18th on the old course has witnessed plenty of drama over the years.
The 18th was inspired by the home hole at St. Andrews, a 404-yard par 4 and a great chance to finish your round with a par or better. The stone bridge is the gateway to an expansive fairway shared with 10, but aim left, you'll feel more than just a little sheepish if you drive it out of bounds right. The green sloping steeply from back right to front left is the size of a small subdivision, so double check your yardage. Miss it short, and the deep depression in front of the green will make you feel deeply depressed. So knock it stiff, make your birdie, and the post-round beverage will taste that much better.
The road hole is arguably the most famous hole in golf.
The 17s is the hardest par 4 in the world.
It's the kind of hole which wins and loses events.
The road hole dominates the old course. With only the relatively easy 18th to play, there's no chance to recover from even the smallest error on the 17th.
Anybody, no matter how talented they are, it's not the kind of hole you should attack. You must play it defensively, play for the front of the green with your second shot, and hope for a chip and one putt for a 4.
At first glance, it looks harmless enough. It's a long par 4, 461 yards, but there's no heavy rough, there's no trees, and no water. The long, narrow green is protected by the hole's only bunker. The back of the green slopes down sharply to some rough gravel, a grass fringe, the road, then some tufty grass, and a picturesque but very unfriendly wall. Strategy is important from the moment you step onto the tee.
Didn't fade, it's got to be left rough.
Well, the ideal way is to get your tee shot in the right center of the fairway. Again, you're going near the out of bounds, but you need it there for your angling to the green.
Now Thomas Bjorn is going to launch one over the corner, flirt along the edge of the hotel. That's a big drive.
So hit it over hotel. And that's the sign there, the Old Course Hotel. Any round said you've got to go through the O in the hotel to be perfect, and that's exactly where that one went. Great shot, Tiger.
And another fairway splitting drive.
The road is no friendlier, leaving you the choice of putting or chipping. Neither guarantees success. Arnold Palmer has ended up on the road more than once, as in this tournament for television.
Oh, no!
Yet it is possible to get into trouble at the road hole and come out smiling.
Oh, well done. This could be a big mistake here. Oh, it's gone back and over and up and down, and where's he? Oh, I say.
But even when you've made the top level of the green, the hole is far from over.
No, this is Westwood.
Even the shortest putts can be difficult to read.
Good first putt to here, this for a round of 70. Oh, he's going to finish with 3 bogeys too. That's a 71. Foul of the par at 17 and nope.
But it is possible to sink long putts too, here with understandable reactions.
I've seen some amazing things happen on that hill.
I've been on the road against the wall, but anytime I make par there, I'm very, very happy, and even a bogey is not too bad.
The
ability to make things look very easy. 187 yards.
Does he like it? He loves it. Oh, that's just unbelievable. Just short of the green, as you can see, gives it a whack with a putt up and over and on and on. And on and on and on and on. Well, we've seen a few of those this week. That's ridiculous. That's about 60 yards. Oh, that beats Sir Terence Wogan's putt at the Gleneagles Hotel and Vicente Fernandez putt.
The 15th was inspired by the road hole at St. Andrews, a 474-yard par 4. Running parallel to 14, it starts the journey back to the clubhouse. The fairway is fairly wide, but lined by fescue on both sides and rock walls off the tee and beside the greenside road. It'll take a big tee shot to get you near the 150-yard marker, and from there, check your yardage carefully. Front to back on this massive green can be a 2 to 3 club difference. There's a nasty sod-walled pot bunker to the left. Depending on where they cut the hole, you may not be able to see the flag from in there. And the road to the right is in play, no relief from there either. But once on the green, almost every putt will be dead straight. Again, a 4 will feel like a bird.
The 8th hole at Royal Troon Golf Club, better known as the Postage Stamp, is one of the most famous par 3s in the game and the shortest hole in championship golf. The hole measures just 123 yards from the back tee, but that number tells just a small part of the story. Two-time Open champion Willie Park Jr. gave the hole its nickname when he wrote that the green was, quote, skimmed down to the size of a postage stamp. The tiny green is protected by no less than 5 cavernous bunkers, and the price for missing the putting surface is likely to be a heavy one. Just ask Rory McIlroy. While practicing for the 2016 Open, Rory took 6 swings to get out of the coffin bunker left of the green. In a game that has come to be dominated by distance, the postage stamp reminds us that sometimes golf's greatest challenges can come in its smallest packages.
Tam arte quam marte is the Royal Troon motto, as much by skill as by strength, and it applies perfectly to the 8th, the postage stamp, the shortest hole in Open Championship golf, and one of the most famous holes in the world. Just 123 yards at its full length, but often back into the wind. It looks straightforward, but miss left or right by a fraction, and you're in bunkers deep below the raised and narrow green, with difficulty either getting it out or getting it to stop on the putting surface. If you make 3, enjoy it, and move on from this great hole.
Number 11, also inspired by a Scottish classic, the famed Postage Stamp at Troon, shortest hole in Open Championship golf. It usually plays less than 140 yards at Wooden Sticks, with the wind blowing from right to left, and the size of the green tells you why they call it postage stamp. Anything on or around the dead flat green will be close to the hole, but that green surrounded by deep pot bunkers that are tough to get out of. Avoid those, and you can avoid a big number on number 11.
One of the world's great links courses, Carnoustie in Scotland, is renowned as the toughest test on the open rota. With frequent strong winds, long, narrow fairways, and treacherous bunkers, Carnoustie can push even the best in the game to their limits.
The 6th hole, Hogan's Alley, perfectly captures the underlying ethos of the course. A heroic choice of shot that, if properly executed, will be rewarded, but severely punished if not.
The 14th at Wooden Sticks was inspired by Hogan's Alley at Carnoustie, a 509-yard par 5, usually downwind. When Hogan won the Open in '53, he flirted with out of bounds by playing down the left side and making birdie all 4 days. At Wooden Sticks, there's no out of bounds, so aim left to avoid the large, deep, and punitive fairway bunkers in the middle. Keep your second shot left as well. You can bounce it up there with a wood or long iron. And avoid the 3 pot bunkers that guard the right side. 14 is a definite birdie or better possibility.
TPC Sawgrass, among Golf Digest's 100 greatest golf courses, has hosted the Players' Championship since 1982 and annually produces the strongest field in golf. This is it, the Gladiator Coliseum of golf, where thousands cheer and jeer the world's best as they take on the beast, Pete Dye's original island green, one actually suggested by his wife Alice. Take away the screaming masses, and the tee shot is still intimidating. Each year, the club pulls about 120,000 golf balls from this pond, an average of 3 per customer. By the way, that's not a new backstop behind the green, it's simply the railing of a temporary footbridge, used while the narrow turf walkway was being regrassed.
The 17th at Wooden Sticks, inspired by the famous Island Green at TPC Sawgrass in North Florida, site of the annual Players' Championship. A par 3, 143 yards at most, where wind and pin location are everything. 17 has ruined many a good round late, so to play it safe, calculate your yardage to the middle of the green and hit it there. The dramatic slopes in front and back left will make it a tough 2-putt if you're on the opposite side of the pin location. But anything dry and visible is good at 17.